Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay, folks, Cincinnati Kid was a poker player, a gambler. The Hustler was the pool movie.
Oh, right. Hustler was good. It was a good movie.
Did you see it?
Of course I saw it. Hustler was great.
Okay. All right. And again, the Cincinnati Kid, I believe, Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I messed it all up.
Great actor. Steve was good.
All right, just ahead of Elliotte Friedman to talk about Conor Garland, among other things. We got Elliotte? Yeah. We do. Today's Monday. All of our guests today are sponsored by Basant Motors, Rick.
Oh.
Spend a little too much this holiday season. Let us help you by getting you a gift card with your next vehicle purchase. Learn more at basantmotors.com as we bring in Elliotte Friedman from Sportsnet Hockey Night in Canada. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Cincinnati Kid, great movie. It is Steve McQueen.
There you go.
And Edward G. Robinson as the opponent. I don't know if it really holds up well in the poker era, but it was a great movie for its time.
Wow. I'll have to check it out. I just messed everything up about it, but I'll try to focus and watch the movie one of these nights. What can you tell us, Elliotte? Great job, by the way, on the weekend, as always. What can you tell us about this trade speculation that surprised a lot of people in Vancouver regarding Conor Garland?
Well, what I would say is this, is that, Jim Rutherford said when he took over the job that he was going to take some time to kind of look up and down the roster and get to know everybody and see where everything stood. And he has kept to his word. He did exactly that. And he said that he would probably start to do some things or look at some things around the end of January. Well, here we are, and he has started to do it. And he's looking around, and the reason I think Garland, when Garland was made available by the Coyotes, there was a ton of interest in him. And everybody knew who was interested in Garland that was the contract that Vancouver signed him to was probably going to be the contract that they were going to have to commit to signing him to, or somewhere in that area. So when he signed on, I don't think that really changed a lot of people's opinions on Garland because they knew that they would have had to do it if they won the opportunity to get the trade. So I think when Rutherford was going around and looking to see what the value of some of his players were, I think he learned that Garland still had some. And some of the teams that were interested in him when he was available last summer were still interested in him now. I don't think that's changed. And I think that's why he's kind of gone to the forefront of some conversations because they know that there's interest in him. It's a good contract. And, if that's the path they want to go, I think they're going to be able to do it.
From what you know, is there something that Jim Rutherford might not like about Conor Garland?
I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far. I think the only issue, Don, I've ever heard about Garland is you guys see, he's just not the biggest guy.
Size, yeah.
And he doesn't let that be like any kind of impediment for him. He throws himself out there with reckless abandon. You guys saw the way he played, especially earlier this year. I think there is some debate. Does that mean he can be more effective in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? Maybe. We'll find out if he gets traded there. But, what I think it just is that Jim Rutherford has decided the number one priority for him is to create cap room. And he's going to do some things or try to do some things that will allow him to do that. And Garland could be one of those pieces.
Elliotte, one guy I want to talk about is Brock Besser. They got to qualify him at 7'5". It's a big number. I think everybody knows that. Is that a name? Is that a name that you've heard out there? Are they getting calls on Besser?
Oh, they're talking to people. I mean, they talk about pretty much everybody. I think the safest thing to say, Rick, is, who's not really available at this time. I don't think Pettersson is. I don't think Demko is. I don't think Hughes is. I don't think Horvat is. Other than that, they've probably had conversations on just about anybody out there. The thing is, I don't think, look, if you want to look at names like, for example, Miller and Garland and Pearson, who I think they could move if they wanted to, and Besser, Like, do you guys are out there. Do you see a situation where they trade all 4 of those guys?
No, I don't.
No.
So you got to keep some people, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, my sense last weekend was if they want to move Garland, they can. Okay. If they want to move Miller, obviously they can. And I think what it's going to come down to with Besser is, what is he thinking and what are they thinking? If they don't want to qualify him at, the 7 million number you quoted, Rick, then it could come down to, hey, what are we willing to do here? And if they can reach a sweet spot, then they can make a deal and keep him there. But if not, then I think it's more likely than not they try to do something.
Do you get the sense, because I certainly got the sense, Elliotte, on the weekend, a lot of this is cap related. I think that OEL trade with Vancouver and Arizona. The Rutherford has said cap issues. You shouldn't have cap issues, Elliotte, when you're out of the playoffs every year. So how much of this is cap related in your eyes? How much is this the GM has evaluated? There's certain guys he likes, he doesn't like. Like, what is driving all these Vancouver rumors in your eyes, Elliotte?
It's the cap, and Rutherford said it. Like, basically, Rick, if you say it's anything but the cap, you're calling him a liar. Like, I heard you call Jim Rutherford a liar there.
Stop!
Yes.
I get in enough trouble, Elliotte.
I caught that too.
Elliotte, I get in enough trouble. You know that.
Like, it came right out to me. My Rick to English translation just came out with Rutherford is a liar.
No, please stop.
Look, I know. He said it. He said, look, they want to clear up their cap space, and that's what he's looking at doing. And and I think that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to create some room, which gives him the flexibility to do a couple of things.
Right.
Elliotte, why, as we switch gears here, why would Edmonton work for Evander Kane when Winnipeg, Buffalo, and San Jose didn't?
Well, I don't think you can say yet that it's worked.
No,
he's only played one game, Don. I mean, we're all going to find we're all going to see this. There's a huge risk. There's no question about it. But the one thing I do think is that, Kane said in his media conference that, there's lots of people in this league who've played for more than 3 teams. And that's true. However, you reach a point where you sort of become not a key player, but a kind of guy who bounces around. And the people who bounce around are not the people who get paid and not the people who are highly counted upon. If this doesn't go well for Kane, like, for example, I really do think, Don, that the amount of teams that were seriously interested in Kane was probably lower this time than, in past. I think a lot of teams called. I think a lot of teams wanted to just check in because that's a general manager's job. But there were a lot of teams that said flat out no. And when it came down to it, there weren't really a ton of teams that were really as aggressive as Edmonton was. I think Kane has to know that if it doesn't work for him here, I don't know where it's going to be working in the future.
Yeah. I guess I should have phrased it. Why would Edmonton think it would work when it didn't work anywhere else? Did you know Scott Mellenby, Ralph Mellenby, Elliotte, who passed away over the weekend?
I knew him briefly, but I never worked for him, Don.
Okay. Yeah.
The one thing I will tell you is that the people who are kind of a generation ahead of me, they swore by him. They absolutely swore by him. And Ron did a big tribute at the top of the show. But there are other people like Chris Cuthbert, for example, who wanted to make sure they got their own time in the broadcast to say something about him too. They really, really swore by him. And as you guys know, in this, the producers in this business, a good producer is the difference between a good show and a bad one, and a good show.
We know that really well.
We got a great producer, Elliotte.
Yeah. He leaves us at the age of 87. Elliotte, thanks so much.
Oh, Elliotte.
You got you still, Elliotte?
Are you there, Elliotte? No, he's frozen up.
He's frozen.
Remember that movie Frozen?
I've got a story about Frozen that happened to me on the weekend. Are
you talking about the car? Elliotte, are you there?
He is.
Yeah, I was looking at myself. I said, I always hate it when my face gets caught because it's always a disaster the way it looks.
It's always a bad freeze frame.
Elliotte, I was going to say to you, Elliotte, I was going to say to you, if you ever want to know who is going to get traded out of Vancouver, just find out who's got car deals at Basant Motors. Every Canuck player that gets a car deal at Basant Motors gets
They're
moved.
a client of ours, Rick.
They know that. They hear it all the time, Donnie. Are you kidding me? Our text line is hopping today because guess who got car deals this year? Miller and Garland.
Yeah.
You know, Rick, it's so funny. When I first started and they said to me, if you really want to know what's going on, make sure you get to know the realtors. Because they're the ones who know what's really going on.
That's
right.
Yeah. Or car dealers, yeah. Elliotte, thanks for this. Good to see that you're unfrozen. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
All right, and just thanks again, as always, guys, for donating today to the Canucks, the Autism Network.
Yeah.
I love the great work the Canucks do, and thank you very much for sending my fee there. Thank you.
No problem. Elliotte.
Thank you.
Friedman,
Yeah, he's so good.
His fee is sent to Canucks for Kids Fund.